Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Microeconomics at Ozarka College. What I'm going to do today is give you some feedback on the Chapter 7 activities that I finished grading this morning. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for Chapter 8 at the end of this week. Okay? So, again, Chapter 7 activities, I finished grading those this morning. Remember, Chapter 7 dealt with production and cost in the firm. This was really the first chapter where we started looking at specifically how businesses make economic decisions. And then in the next few chapters, chapters 8 through 10, we're going to kind of take what we've learned from Chapter 7 and apply it to specific market structures. Okay? All right. So, again, Chapter 7 activities. If you haven't already looked at your grades for those activities, go ahead and do that as soon as you can and let me know if you have any questions at all. I tried to be very specific if I did have to count any points off on the assignment. But just look at your grades and read the comments. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Most of you did well on the Chapter 7 activities, but there were a few common errors as far as maybe not explaining fully the question that was about the question that was asked on the assignment. And so what I've done is I've created a separate video called the Chapter 7 assignment review that I've actually posted on the announcements page, as you can see right here. And I've also posted it on the activities page. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But I would like everyone, even if you made a perfect score on the assignment for Chapter 7, I would really like you to watch this Chapter 7 assignment review video. Because it basically takes everything that was on the assignment and kind of summarizes what I was looking for specifically as answers on the assignment questions. And so I think the video will help you when you're working on the next few chapters, chapters 8 through 10. It will help you to watch this review video just to make sure that everybody's on the same page and understands the basic concepts and basic terms that are going to need to be understood to work through chapters 8 through 10. Okay? So go ahead and watch that video. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Like I said, overall, most of you did well on the Chapter 7 assignment, so keep up the good work on that. Most of you are really putting the time and effort in, and so I really appreciate that. Let's see. The discussion that we had for Chapter 7 that dealt with the economies of scale at McDonald's, I thought that went extremely well. I really appreciate everyone's participation on the discussion. I really enjoyed reading everyone's comments and commenting myself. And so hopefully that allowed you to, that discussion allowed you to kind of understand better some of the concepts that we were covering in Chapter 7. All right? All right. Also, the Chapter 7 objective test, most of you did well on that, but just as a reminder, you can take those tests as many times as you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. And I will be opening up those chapter tests later in this semester to allow you to study for the midterm and the final exams. So just kind of keep that in mind. So let me know if you have any questions at all about Chapter 7. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. All right, so that brings us to what we've got coming up due later on this week, which is Chapter 8. So let's go to the activities page in my Ozarka. Right now we are on week 6 of the semester. Doesn't seem like it should already be week 6, but it is. And you'll notice I have that Chapter 7 assignment review video that I was just talking about as the first item under week 6. So I want you to watch that video first and then start working through chapter 8. Chapter 8 is the first of 3 chapters that cover market structure. All right? Some of the decisions that we learned about in chapter 7 as far as how much to produce and basically firms trying to figure out how much to produce in order to maximize profit. And we learned that that is the ultimate goal of any firm, is to maximize profit. And of course, there are decisions that have to be made in order to reach that maximum profit. So we kind of have a basic introduction to that in chapter 7. Well, as far as how firms make decisions, as far as how much to produce, a lot of it depends on the type of market that they face, the type of market structure that they face. For example, there are some firms that are in perfect competition, where the only thing that they have control over is how much they produce, because they have no control over the price. And so that's what we're going to be learning about in chapter 8. But it's also important when we start on chapter 8 to also learn that there are other market structures out there too that we're going to learn about in chapters 9 and 10. So in chapter 9, we're going to learn about the other end of the spectrum as far as market structure, which is where you only have one producer and they have no competition. And that market structure is called monopoly. And I'm sure everyone's heard of that. So you have perfect competition on one end of the spectrum, which we'll learn about in chapter 8. Chapter 9, we're going to learn about the opposite end of the spectrum, which is monopoly. And then in chapter 10, we're going to learn about some of the market structures that fall in between those two extreme cases of market structure. Specifically, we're going to look at monopolistic competition and oligopoly in chapter 10. All right? So it's important as we start on chapter 8 that we think about that this is just one type of market structure that we're looking at, and there are actually others that we'll be looking at in chapters 9 and 10. Okay? And again, the reason that we have to look at specific market structures in economics is because depending on what market structure a firm faces, that is going to determine what types of control they have over the market conditions and the things that they need to be able to do to maximize profit. So just kind of keep that in mind. So again, chapter 8 covers the perfect competition market structure. So you're going to learn about both the short-term and long-term or short-run and long-run decisions made by firms in the perfect competition market structure. You're also going to learn about some of the things. You're going to kind of go into more detail on some of the things that were introduced in chapter 7. Things like marginal cost, total cost, and average cost that we learned about in chapter 7, but we're going to be looking at it in a lot more detail in chapter 8. And then in addition, in chapter 8, we're going to also learn about the other side of profit in addition to cost, which is the revenue side. We're going to be looking at marginal revenue, total revenue, and average revenue. All right? So make sure that if you haven't already learned the concepts of marginal, total, and average values that were presented in chapter 7, if you're still having a hard time understanding those concepts, watch that chapter 7 video because I do explain it in quite a bit of detail. And then if you still have questions after watching the video, let me know, and I'll try to find some other resources that may help you as well. But it is very critical that you understand the relationship between marginal, total, and average values, how one affects the other, okay? Because that's what we're going to be looking at in the next several chapters. We're going to be looking at how we kind of use marginal cost and marginal revenue as a firm, depending on what market structure we're facing, how we use those two concepts to maximize profit, okay? And the decisions that have to be made both in the short term or in the short run and the long run in order to achieve that maximum profit. All right? So these terms, the marginal, total, and average value terms are going to be used heavily the rest of this semester, not just in the next few chapters, but in all the chapters that we have coming up. So it's very critical that you understand those concepts. All right? So that is Chapter 8. So make sure that you remember all the resources that you have available to you. On the Chapter 8 assignment page, you have the PowerPoint slides. You have the videos that explain the concepts that are presented in the chapter. So make sure you're making use of those resources. And most of you are. So just keep up the good work on that. And like I said, Chapter 8 activities are due by Friday of this week, which is September 27th. So if you haven't already started on these activities, go ahead and get started as soon as possible. And like I said, let me know if you have any questions as you're working through that those chapter activities. All right, that's all I have for you for today. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I will probably talk to you again sometime early next week. Thank you.